Okay. So, welcome to Before They Get Famous. I am the host of this new digital show. I'm Alana Tyson, and we are going to get into a lot of fun and exciting things with my guest here, Atarah Green.
Hi.
Atarah is the CEO and founder of TechNPack. And so we are going to jump into all of this goodness. And Atarah is also my first female guest on the show. So,
Yay.
yay! I'm really excited about that Black girl magic happening. So we're going to get into what Tech and Pack is all about, how I kind of found you and just fell in love with your mission and your goals and kind of what you were able to pull off in a very short amount of time. And hopefully this will inspire anyone out there who is looking to do something similar, or maybe not even do something similar, but just if you have a vision and you kind of want to see that to fruition. And we're going to talk with Tara about all of that. So, again, make sure you like and subscribe to SnazzyTV. That is where you're going to see this full interview, and where you can see some of our previous interviews as well and some of the guests that we've had on the show. And we are going to wrap things up here for 2020. So, Atarah Green is going to be my last guest for the year, and we're going to bring in 2021 with some new faces, some new companies, some new visions for the new year. Let's see. So, if you have come back to the show and you've seen us in the past, you know that we have a segment of the show that we call shout-outs. So I'm going to jump into that real quick. I'm not going to explain what that's all about. You'll get the gist of it when we roll with it. So my shout out today is going to be actually keeping in line with trying to really help these small businesses as we're dealing with this pandemic. I'm going to be shouting out a restaurant, a Black owned restaurant here in the Bay Area that I discovered when I moved here back in April. It's called Backyard. And so I just love the name of that company for one, because it reminds me of the West Indies, that whole Caribbean culture when I was living out on the East Coast. And when I came here, I was looking for some really good Caribbean style food and had a really hard time finding it here in San Jose. And I found this company, this business called Backyard, and they serve up some of the best Caribbean food that I think
Ooh.
I've had in years. So they have 5 locations in and around San Jose. You can go there and get your. I think they sell roti. They have roti and beef patties and oxtails and jerk chicken and rice and beans, rice and peas. So all of that Caribbean goodness. So if you're craving any of that, please do help out a small business, help out a Black-owned business, and check out Backyard. They are online. You can Google them. They do catering, they do all the takeout and all that. So kudos and shout out to them. Tara, that's it for me. Tara, you have any?
Oh, I have like so many. Is that
Go
okay?
for it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So first, I'm gonna shout out Care Pictures Love. They do like he helps like people that are incarcerated to be able to connect with their families and stuff. Really great mission. Really great. Also Ministry and Muscle, which is a fitness and it's ran by a husband and wife. And I grew up with them and they're super, super cool. But they are pretty much getting people active out at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco. So they're doing an amazing job with that. JSM Fitness, she is amazing. She's doing some transformations. She also has a little small boutique called The Spot. It's in Oakland. So check her out. She's super dope. She does transformations. She has like all kinds of like fitness stuff going on. So I love her. She's super dope. Um, of course, Edward Green Films. You know, that's my brother. He killing the game right now. He is about to be something big, and I
Oh,
am so glad he was on your show because like you got him right before he was about to be like, you know,
yes.
2021 is about to be lit
Yes.
for him. Revamp Wellness. The that nonprofit and that company, they are super dope. They do a lot of like community events with the City Eats. They do a lot of community events for us with Us for Us, which is two nonprofits that I love to shout out. They are like doing some amazing stuff, giving food back, giving toys to kids and in the unequitable areas around the Bay Area. So I love to shout them out. Revamp Wellness, City Eats, Us for Us, Third Parent Family. They're doing food bags every Saturday in San Francisco. So if you know any like homeless or families that are just struggling, or even like seniors that can't go out and grocery shop, they are super dope. They deliver the food to each household, and they are just amazing. And of course, TechNPack, of course, shout out to us,
Yes, I see you got your gear
um,
on.
I got my swag on, Um, and also, last but not least, but Black Food Collective, owned by Chef Rashad, very, very well known chef in Oakland. He is just pretty much creating a platform for like Black foods to come together and do pop-ups and like be able to like sell their food outside of like the restaurant industry, especially for people that are making food at home, and cooking, making plates out of their house, whatever they got to do,
Yeah.
he's supporting that. So yeah, and if you need web design, Elite Business Startup, they are super dope, and they do a lot of website designs and stuff like that. So yeah, I got a lot of people. I hope I didn't miss nobody. If I did, charge it to my head, not my heart. Because I love you all. So yeah,
Exactly. I love it. Charge it to my head, not my heart. I'm gonna have to steal that.
you can still. My mama says it all the time.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, so oh my gosh, Atara, I am loving your energy, first of all. And
Thank you.
I can see just from talking to you right now why your business, why your vision is really taking off.
Oh,
Because you
thank
just
you.
seem to have such a wonderful, wonderful spirit. So
Oh,
thank you,
thank
thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
thank you for
Appreciate
sitting
that.
on the show with us. So let's unpack, no pun intended,
Okay.
what Tech and Pack is really all about. When I discovered you, when I saw Tech and Pack, this is what I got from it.
Mhm,
Tech and Pack is a nonprofit organization whose
mhm,
main, I don't want to say your main goal, but one of the biggest events that you put on is this backpack drive.
mhm.
And I'm sure your vision and your mission and goal and stuff is a lot bigger than that. And I'll let you get into that. But from what the just person coming in and just kind of seeing what you all do, you fill these backpacks with tech gear. Is that right? Tech tools, tech gear for children in underserved communities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that is, I think that's probably one of the main goals of kind of what you do, or one of the main things. But in your words, tell me, what is Tech and Pack all about?
So you are totally right. That is like one part of us. Like we supply, underserved, underrepresented youth with tech supplies during this like pandemic with a distance learning. So it's not fully like the laptops, but it's like the mouses, it's like the webcam covers, it's the USB cords, it's the all the stuff that people forget to get when they get a laptop. Like, and this all came about because like I literally am a parent of three, and I'm like at the house, like what do I need for my kids? And I'm fortunate enough to work in the tech industry at a really great VC firm, and so I have the access to that. But like other parents don't have that access. They have to go to the store and get this stuff. They have to go and figure out what plug works for this, or they have to figure that stuff out. And so with Tech Impact, we help you to get these tools to your youth so that they have everything that they need to be successful. And that is like one genre of what we do. We also connect and merge and forge the gap between tech companies and the youth that need it. A lot of the times, like when you're working in the tech company or tech company, they only focus on like homeless, oh, let's support the homeless, let's feed the homeless, oh, let's let's give this money to shelters, and that's amazing and that's so great, and we definitely need that. But there is youth that are graduating out of school. There are youth that are getting taken from us, to the streets. And that's just real life, and they're thinking that, all of these tall buildings in San Francisco, Bay Area, everywhere, they can't get access to that. They think that they have to be a janitor or they have to be something like a security guard. And that's nothing wrong with that.
Or
But
servant.
it's so much more that they could do. And what's crazy about it is not being taught in school that you could be an engineer, a woman Black engineer. You could be a graphic designer. You could create that game that you're playing. Like you could create that. And so that's what TechNPack is really, our mission is to really tell these youth and like let them know and give them and walk them through it, like give them the tools that they need to be able to walk in the door and not feel like they don't belong, or that they didn't go to college so they can't do this or they can't do that. Like it's possible, and it is a guarantee that you could do it. Mark Zuckerberg, he dropped out of college, and his story is amazing, and he's a trillionaire, you know what I mean? And it's just like what it's it's a lot of the time in the Black and brown community, it's like the access is not there. And there are programs for that, but you have to think about it. There's like 1 billion youth in the Bay Area, right? And in that billion, probably all the programs can support like 500,000. There's still like that large gap that they're not getting served. They're not understanding how to get into it. They're not knowing that there's an access there, or they just give up and they be like, whatever, I'll wait till next year. I'll wait till next year, so
Career. Let's say you have a youth who just decides that they want to be a YouTuber. And
yeah.
I'm not minimizing that at all. Because there's a lot of young people out
Mhm,
there that are doing it and making a lot of money
mhm,
and have, found a niche. Even even at that level, you still have to understand this technology.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny because I hear, you go and see different things. You hear people say, a lot of the boomers, right? A lot of boomers and above. Oh, these kids and these gadgets and this stuff, they need to get off of those
Mhm,
machines. But I have a lot of pride in the fact that my children at a very young age can navigate their way through setting up a camera on their
mhm.
computer, or understanding how a GoPro operates.
Right.
It's
And
technology is where it's at, whether people want to believe it or not.
if we can get on the bandwagon and like we could figure out how to make our communities more impactful and like inspire these kids to like, all right, cool, you on the phone, all right, cool, how do you fix the phone if I break it in half?
Yeah,
Or how do you fix the cord if your charger doesn't work? Or how do you build that app that you're trying to play right now? Like how do you do that?
if,
If we teach our kids like that, they gonna be millionaires,
yeah,
millionaires,
you
and I
know,
want to be a part of it.
if awesome, awesome. If distance learning hasn't taught us anything at all,
Yep.
it's taught us that if you are not with it, with this technology, you are going to be left
Yes.
in the dust.
In the dust.
In the dust.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this is so exciting. This is such a I'm so excited for you. So I want to kind of get into a little bit about your organization.
Mhm.
So your first drive that you had, how did you, I want to know how you made that happen in a nutshell. I know it's probably a really, really long story, and it's probably an
No.
exciting story, but I want to know for the visionary who is looking at this saying, oh my gosh, she did what in what amount of time? How did you pull that off? Because you had your first drive back in September.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a nutshell, how did you make that happen? And how did you get the donations?
Man. Oh my God.
How did you get the buy-in? Like how did you get other people to buy into your vision and volunteers? I mean, you guys did the damn thing. Go
So
ahead.
okay. So okay, let me start from the beginning. So me and
Okay.
my husband were like chilling, right? And well, we're not rich at all. Like, just please let me be clear. We are not rich at all.
Entrepreneurs never are, Atarah. We never
So
are when we
yes,
have these
make
visions.
that clear.
Yeah.
So me and my husband was like, okay, like what can we do? Like we working, we getting our checks and we good, right? And
Hmm.
I'm like, well, like there are like hella parents out there that are suffering that can't like buy the main necessities. And I'm like going to Target buying like cores, I'm going there, I'm buying this, I'm going to my office grabbing this, grabbing tables, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, well, there's a lot of companies that are going out of business or like going 100% remote. So like what are they doing with all of that stuff that's in their offices? And then I'm like thinking, and I'm like, okay, well, I know my office can like donate like all this stuff because I'm in charge of the office. So I'm like, okay, I'm gathering the stuff, and I'm like, this is a lot of stuff. Like, all right.
Right.
And then I'm like, honey, like I just called him. I'm like, yo, let's do a backpack drive. And he was like, what? We're not gonna do a backpack drive. That's gonna be hella expensive, and we're gonna have to do all of this stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, all we're gonna have to do is buy backpacks. That's it. Like that's it. And then I'm like, all right, cool. Like he's like, all right, let's do it. And once he said that, I got on LinkedIn. I connected with so many companies, and I'm just going off of a limb. Like I'm just like looking up people. Oh, you work at LinkedIn. Oh, you work at Lyft. Oh, you work at Twitter, or you work at Twitch. Okay, cool. Like I'm just reaching out to people, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this backpack drive. Created a slide deck. This is how it's gonna look. This is how it's gonna go. Everything's gonna be like this. It's gonna be a drive-through, so parents don't have to get out the car. For COVID reasons, if they do want to get out the car, they can walk up. This is only dedicated to like kids and youth and family that are receiving like free lunch. So I had a connection in the SFUSD to give me all of the names of like these families. And then I was like, okay, cool. People just started flooding. Like when I say flooding, like, oh yeah, I have this. Oh, I have this swag. Oh, I have this. And my main goal for the backpacks was just to have like a logo on it. Like just have like, because these kids are not going back to school. And the first day of school is like Jordans, they got the best swag, they got
Right.
the newest and flyest. So I was like, okay, well, how about I make them fly at home, like inside of their house. Like they can throw on a shirt from Lyft, or they can have their water bottle from Twitch, or have their backpack from Twitch or Twitter, like Pinterest giving like all kinds of stuff. Like, and I was just like, okay, let's do it. And I tell you, like people were just like flooding in there, and they were like, yeah, we have this, can you pick it up? And I'm like go driving around San Francisco, car full of stuff, like doing double trips, and like storing all these items in my office. And I'm like, we have like so much stuff, like this is crazy. And then I was like, okay, let's start like a little GoFundMe. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like only ask for like $2,000. The reason why I'm only asking for this amount is because like this will help with like volunteer food. This will help with if we wanted to give out food bags. This will help with like if we wanted to have music or anything like that, like during this drive to like entice people to come. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I tell you, like within like a week, it was like $5,000, $10,000. I was like, wait. Okay, I gotta stop. Like, I don't know what to do with all of this. Like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm just
Ooh,
here to just do a
that's nothing
backpack
but the
drive.
power of
That's
God.
it. Like, I was just like, I'm just here to do a backpack drive. That's it. Like, I'm not doing nothing else. It was not intended to be like that big. It was just for like my Filmo family. Like, I always wanted to do something for Filmo because like I grew up there, and I knew what I could have been. I knew what the streets could have made me, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with getting your hustle on, but I didn't want that for myself,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, I was able to get out. I was able to make it happen and, work at a top VC firm. Like, who would have thought a black girl from Filmo, like, that lives in Oakland, that's like super hood, so they want to call me. And,
Okay,
like,
we can own that. We can own
I
that.
own it. But like,
Exactly.
who would have thought? So I'm like, okay. We there the day of. This dude, oh my God, this dude like on LinkedIn, he was like, yo, I got a truck for you. Like I'm gonna get you a truck so you can tote everything from your office to like the location, and then I'm gonna give you this. And I was just like, no way. Like it was crazy.
Wow. Wow.
So
Okay. So
yeah, that's how it happened.
yeah.
Literally.
Wow. That is just, the power of a vision, right? And
Yeah.
you regardless of your spirituality, right? You that
Mhm.
is, how they say God will give you way more than you ask for.
Literally.
Like I'm sure you were not expecting any of that to happen.
Nothing, nothing,
Yeah.
like absolutely nothing. And it was like, when I'm telling you, like when it's your time, that's like my thing. When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
And like when it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. Who would have thought it came from like us just chilling on the couch, like, yo, let's do a backpack drive. And my husband's like, yeah, let's go. Like, if just imagine if I would have kept thinking in my head like, this ain't gonna work,
It's
or
not
if
gonna
I would have listened to people being like, how you gonna do that with COVID, or how you gonna do that with this, or what you gonna do about that, like
Yeah.
just imagine if I would have listened to people like
Right.
negative and telling me that I can't do it. Like if I would have listened to that, I would have been like so depressed, so sad,
Mhm.
because I couldn't help my community.
And imagine how many children would not
Yeah.
have had what they had that day.
Yeah. There was a little kid there, and that this was makes it more satisfying. It was a little kid, little boy, and I gave him the backpack, and he looked in the backpack and he started crying because he was like, nobody ever gave me this. This is so cool. And I just like was so satisfied off of that, not even the fact that, there was a like almost 1,000 kids like lined up for these
Yeah.
backpacks, but like just
Yeah.
that one kid
That one.
that looked in it and just seen a water bottle. Like, you know what I mean? Like
And even,
that is
the funny thing is, even if it was only that kid, even if you had
right,
only helped that child,
right.
it would have
I
been
would have been
okay.
okay.
It
I
would
would
have
have
been
been.
okay.
The
Yeah.
thing is, I would have like if I was sitting in my head, I was like, okay, if nobody shows up to this, if nobody comes and there's no kids, if there's 6 kids that come, I'm gonna make sure that I give the rest of these backpacks to these schools, like go around. I was planning in my head. I was like, I'm gonna go to one of these schools or 3 of these schools or 7 of these schools and drive around in my car and hand like 100 backpacks to each school. Like
Yeah.
that was gonna
Somebody's
be
gonna
my
get.
goal.
She said somebody gonna get these
I
backpacks.
was like, somebody gonna get this. Like it's gonna happen, and I don't care. I don't care if I gotta force feed it into a school or whatever. And it was, man. I even got donations after the fact. Like after the backpack drive was over, people were still sending stuff. Like here, put this in there. Here, do this. Here, like it
So
was amazing.
so Atara, how much time, if you can recall, and pardon me, the sun is killing me, but how
No, you glowing, girl. You glowing.
oh, thank you. How much time how much time between the time that you came up with this idea
Mhm.
until the backpack drive?
So I had the idea August 1st. I think it
Okay.
was like August 1st, maybe June 30th or July 30th. Like it was like somewhere in that area. Like it was like 1 month. And I was like, I can't do this. Like it's too
Of
much.
course
Like
you can.
I was like, I can't do this with working a full-time
God
job
gave
and
you
3
this
kids at the
task.
house. I was
This
like,
task,
oh no.
this task, nobody else could have done this but you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is exactly how life works. Like that task was meant for you to do.
Mhm.
Like nobody else could have came up with the idea. No one else, because somebody else could have came up with the idea, but they might not have had the tools to do it.
The
They might not have
connection.
had the drive to do it. They
Mhm.
might not have had the energy. They might not have had the team.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was totally a you thing. So
Yeah.
question: what was one of the biggest surprises in starting TechNPack for you? What's been the most
Okay.
surprising thing?
Well, after that, after the backpack drive, I didn't even start the nonprofit. That was not even my nonprofit. Like that was just something I just did just for me. like satisfying for me. You know, I didn't even start a nonprofit at that point. But when I was starting it, it was two people that were like, you need to do this damn thing and stop playing, you know? And those two people were, her name is Virginia Marshall. She was like she was my teacher in middle school and high school.
Okay.
And it was Edward Green. He was like, what are you doing? Like, he just got on me. He was just like, what are you doing? Like, and I was like, well, um, I'm gonna start it November 26th and I'm just gonna do it. And he was, granted, this is like October something, you know? And he's like, so you mean to tell me you about to wait? Like you just did a whole backpack drive,
Oh,
like a whole thing. Like you did it all by yourself. Like you and your husband, like y'all did it. And you telling me you about to wait
wait.
until like, and I was like, yeah, because I don't know. I gotta get the process and I gotta get my business plan together. And he just was looking at me like, how are you? What? And I will never forget these words. And he was like, you need to get it together. Like you gonna miss your opportunity. And he was like, it's gonna be somebody that take your idea and they're gonna run with it. And you're gonna be stuck somewhere else and you're gonna be still trying to get a business plan together.
Looking sad.
And I literally heard him and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start it. And he was like, all right, whatever. Didn't believe me. And I was just reaching out to like a bunch of people. Shout out to sorry, another shout out to Cotil. They are like my mentors like through this whole thing. Donna has like been such like a big help for me, like mentally, just trying to get everything in order. And she was like, you could do it. Like this is super easy. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna do this, this, and this. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna push you. Like this is how you need it. And I'm just so grateful. And so that was the two most surprising things that I found about myself is that I'm overthinking things. Like all it takes is action. And
Action. Exactly.
I
Do
surprised myself because
something.
I was like, yeah, I was like, just do it. Like just like how you did the backpack drive, you just woke up and did it. That's what you need to do. You just need to do it. So for everybody that has an idea, just do it. If it sucks, it's gonna suck. That's the only thing that can happen is that it sucks. And then you just figure out how to make it not suck. That's it.
You know, Atarah, your this whole process, like watching your process online, because I was like, I looked at everything and I was
Oh.
like, oh my God, this is just so awesome. It reminded me so much of the Insecure. And for those who watch Insecure, I guess it was the last season, Issa, the character, Issa had this idea to do this community event. And there was a lot of moving parts. And she ran into so much opposition. And of course, that's fictional, but it's very true to life. I mean, as you learned during this process, you run into there was a piece where she, even just with getting a permit, just getting when she went down to the courthouse or whatever it was she was supposed to go to get the permit, and
Mm-hmm.
she ran into the hater at the counter.
Yep.
It was like, you ain't getting up, what you doing, a community event, what you need to be doing that for? Just the amount of opposition that you could potentially face, and very much like in those episodes of Insecure,
Mm-hmm.
she just said, you know what, this is what I want to do. Whether or not people buy in or not, if we have people to buy in and help me out with this, it'll make it a lot easier. But if they don't, I'm going to do it anyway. But it seemed to me that you had a lot of support.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. There was times where I went into Target and I was like, I need 500 hand sanitizers, mini hand sanitizers, and the lady looked at me and was like, no, like absolutely not. And I was like, I'm doing a backpack drive. Like I had to call her manager, and I'm like, I'm doing a backpack drive, so like y'all need to help me with this. Like at least give me 100 or whatever. And she was just like, no, no, no. Like, and I had to like go to other places. It was tough. I did have those naysayers that were like, she just a black girl trying to get on, like, or
Right.
and I did get followed in store a couple times, like because I'm buying stuff for the
In bulk.
event and buying large amounts. And um, I got followed in the store. What are you doing? Like, it was a lot of like blocks, but what I did was I knew how to make sure that I didn't get a no. Like I knew that. And I get that from my mom. Like, you're not finna tell me no. Like, there is a way that you can do this. And I'm gonna figure out a way that I can do. If I gotta look on YouTube and stand here and watch you, you know what I mean? And you watch it with me and we can watch it and do it together, then that's what we're gonna do. But like, you're not finna turn me away. No, no, absolutely not.
Oh my
No.
goodness, this is just awesome. So, I found a quote that you said regarding when it came to getting a lot of the donations from the different organizations. I'm going to make sure I get it right. So you said it wasn't that these companies didn't want to help, but they just didn't know how.
Hmm.
What did you talk about? I mean, talk about that a little bit in terms of what you discovered as you were contacting a lot of these places, because I'm sure you made tons of connections
Yeah.
as you were calling different companies and calling all of these Fortune 500s and
Hmm.
asking for help, and was that must have been very humbling,
It was.
asking for help, because that's a lot of times what we as entrepreneurs don't want to do. We don't want to ask for help.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So it was it was hard. So like for me, I was like, okay, I can do this all by myself. And then my husband kept reminding me that you have to, humble yourself. You have to like ask. Like it's nothing wrong with asking. Like, because I'm a person like I don't want to ask because I don't want to get rejected, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like if they say no, then what? And I'm like, okay, thank you, And so it had happened like that. But like for the most part, when I say that the companies don't know how to help, is because they're not from where I come from. Like I come from like the hood, growing up on the streets. Like, my family was poor, like very poor. I came from that place. And a lot of the companies, they get people that don't come from that place or don't understand the struggle of, food stamps or like, the welfare line or food bags or eating out of shelter. Like they don't understand that. And I came into this world, this tech world, understanding that. So like instead of me being like wasteful and like throw it away, I'm like, no, absolutely not. And they always used to ask me like, why do you keep saving stuff? And I was like, because it's somebody out there that need it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I can find out who needs it. And
Yeah.
so, it's just that they don't know and they don't understand. And it takes people like me to go in these companies and not be afraid to ask and not be afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Say
Well,
the word black.
thank you for not being afraid to ask,
Yeah.
because that
No.
event, that event was just absolutely heartwarming
Oh,
to
thank you.
watch. And so that leads me to what is next. So a couple things. One, I can tell you what I would like to see. I would love to
Okay. Okay.
I would love to see this go national, right? And I don't know if you've thought about this, but to have drives in different cities, in different states. But I know that's a big ask, and it takes you got to take baby steps. So as
Hmm.
difficult as this, as challenging I should say, as this was to just pull this off, um, I'm sure that trying to take this national would be, a hell of a task. But that's of course just me thinking out loud. But what do you see for TechNPack in the future?
Well, I mean, we are, trying to expand ourselves. We are trying to, go to LA. We are trying to go like, to all of these broken communities that, need it. Um, and that's one of our goals is to like on the same day every year or the same like Saturday, like have it just going at once, like everybody and we're just doing it all at once and every city is doing it and it's like just a great day of just everybody getting everything that they need and eventually it will happen and I am set on making it happen. If it's next year, the next or the year after, but every year we're going to do a TechNPack drive, and we are going to inspire these kids, and we're going to make sure that they know that it's people out here that care about them, and it's people out here that look like them that are in these places that they can be in, you know. And then also next year we are, well, January, which is in like 2 weeks, but
Right.
we are doing something called Tech Talks, and they are talks that come from these tech companies, and they are not only just people that work in the field, but they are Black and Latinx people that work in these fields, and they're going to come and they're talking to these youth of how they can build their careers, and how they can, what they need to do, and how they need to build their resume, and how their LinkedIn needs to be, and what they need to do to be creators instead of, people that are working. I'm gonna
Just
have like,
consumers.
yes.
We have that. I have a 14-year-old. I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. But my
Mm-hmm.
14-year-old is very tech. I'd say he's tech savvy.
Mm-hmm.
But we always teach him
Yeah.
you don't want to just be a consumer. And
Yes.
it's fine to be fine to be a consumer, but you don't want to be just a consumer.
Yeah.
You
You
want to
want
be
to
a
own your
creator.
own.
You want to
Yeah.
be a creator.
Yep.
So
And you want to own your own, because like then that creates equity for you. That also creates equity for your family. Not just you. Like your kids can be set even before they're here. So like it is a big deal for me for let these youth know that they cannot be consumers for the rest of their life. They have to have their own stuff. If you like doing nails, make your own nail company. If you like playing games, make your own game. If you like doing this, make it, like create it, and name it and patent it, and don't let nobody take it from you unless they paying over $1 billion. So like, creating that, and having different companies talk to them. We just had a talk with Pinterest, and the kids loved it. It was a tech talk for teens, that are trying to get into engineering. There were some amazing panelists that were talking to these kids. Kids asked so many questions.
mhm.
They were like on it. They were like so engaged, and I'm just so excited to keep going and keep having these talks with these kids. Also, we're going to do a college tour, but it's not going to be just a typical college tour, but we're going to go to colleges where you can get your MBA. You can have your own entrepreneurship journey. Also, we're going to visit a lot of the tech companies in Silicon Valley. So we're going to do like a bunch of tours. We're going to take 20 kids at a time. And so we are doing funding for that, so that we're able to, like, pay for the kids' flights, pay for their transportation, pay for their, so they don't have to worry about nothing. They can just go and think about what they want to do, and just create that space for them. So we're going to do that. We're also going to keep uh, connecting with other nonprofits and helping other nonprofits to gain their technology up, and spice up their technology,
Yeah.
and how to make things easier for them. So if you are a nonprofit out there and you are looking to just get some help in Zoom, or you need some help with, templates to be able to, write down all your information, accounting insight, all of that, you can definitely reach out to us. It's not just for the youth, it's for everybody.
It's for everyone.
And then also we're going to do a Zoom class for teachers, and a Zoom class for parents,
Oh,
so that the parents understand how Zoom works, so that they're not looking crazy,
right.
and then also the teacher
Yeah.
can understand how Zoom works, so that they can make their classes more intriguing and fun. And like it's a lot of fun with technology when you know how to use it.
When you know how
And
to use
so
it.
like I'm trying to make it
Exactly.
fun.
I'm learning right now how to use Slack.
Oh,
So
Slack is
I'm in.
so fun.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of
Yes.
fun, and I'm in a literary group where it's a bunch of us, and we're all writers of children's book writers, and we use Slack, and it's been great, but it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
But as with anything, but with all of this technology, it's a learning curve, and so if we can get these babies started and not just the babies, but even though your drive is very much focused on the youth, I love the idea that you all are branching off into just helping the community at large.
And so I want people to really recognize that when you go to somebody, go to a nonprofit, make sure you show love to them. Like, don't just be demanding. Like, don't go there and just be getting your stuff and leaving. Show love. Like,
Right.
if you could, volunteer for an hour, volunteer with that person. Because, dude, like, it's hard.
It's
And
hard.
most of the time, when you're an entrepreneur, you're only starting with one or two people, and
Oh,
you're doing marketing, you're
oh
doing
yes,
you doing web design,
yes,
you're doing everything. And so I'm just lucky that I, am connecting with all these wonderful people and all these nonprofits and companies that are doing the damn thing. They are killing it, y'all. And so
yeah.
make sure y'all check them out for real.
I love it. Okay, well, Atarah Green, thank you so, so much for bringing your Black girl magic and your energy and sharing your vision, sharing TechNPack, and thank you for creating TechNPack for the world, for the community. Thank you so much for sitting down with Before They Get Famous. And that's the thing that I love most, I think, about this show. And just like you said, we entrepreneurs, it's kind of thankless, but we don't do it for the thanks. This is why I do this show. I said because I constantly am finding gems like you, like my last other guests, and they're just out there doing these wonderful things, and I just want to share with the world. That's literally all I want to do. I'm just like, I found this company, TechNPack. They're awesome. I want everybody to know about what you guys are doing. So thanks.
Thank you.
I know you're a super, super busy young lady, so I will not take up any more of your time. I just appreciate you sitting here with SnazzyTV and Before They Get Famous. I will make sure that I include all of your links and your info and your website and your IG handles and all that stuff on the YouTube description, so that everybody can go and check you out. And we will be looking for TechNPack to do some amazing things in 2021.
And make sure y'all subscribe. And if y'all have kids, that youth that are trying to, get into the tech world, coding, engineering, anything, please subscribe. Make sure that your kid is gets the access that they need. And reach out to me anytime. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You
Yes,
can have
yes.
my email is on my website. You can reach out to me. My phone number is on there. I don't know how long it's gonna be on there, so make sure you get it now. Yes, make sure you connect. And thank you so much for having me. This is dope. I really
Oh my
um,
gosh.
am just inspired by you. I'm just
Oh,
really
thank
inspired
you.
by you. And thank you so much for having just an ear for people to hear that what's going on. And yeah, it was just great being on the show. It's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Missy. And we will be seeing TechNPack in 2021. All right.
Make
Bye,
sure you
guys.
get your shirt.
Yes. TNT. TNT. I think